Well, I've had another week full of travel back and forth from the Matsu Valley. And unfortunately, one of those trips was not to go caribou hunting. They are back in the area, and they have been back in the area for a couple of weeks now. But unfortunately, this time of the year, they've really thinned out in their body mass. They've lost a lot of weight from all the deep snow that they've been traversing across to get into Canada and then make their way back onto this side of the state. And the season ends in about a week's time. And so I'm not going to get the opportunity to go hunting again before that time. And like I said, right now it's not really the best time to harvest them. And so I am looking forward to going again in the fall. But nonetheless, Kenai and I did run into the Matsu Valley again this week. We did that just yesterday. And we left early in the morning because there was a snowstorm setting in. The snowstorm was really expected to hit Palmer and Anchorage areas. And so we left bright and early. And one of the things that we had to do was we had at the transfer station. When my son brought all my belongings in, most of those have just been sitting in boxes. I have not had the opportunity to go through a whole lot of things and get things put away yet until just recently. And so as I've been doing so, I've been accumulating more and more garbage, unfortunately. And some of it is stuff that I just can't burn here at the property. So we hit the transfer station, and then unfortunately we did hit that snowstorm as we made our way towards Anchorage. Luckily, Kenai and I made it through the storm without incident, unlike some other unfortunate individuals. But I had to go into Anchorage because I had an appointment to get my taxes done. Now, I've always done my taxes in years past, even when I've had other businesses that I've owned. But this is the first time owning a business where I'm receiving tax documents from a third party. And so I just wanted to make sure that I had all of my bases covered and there were no hiccups with the taxes. So I got those done. And then Kenai and I shared some McDonald's. He got himself a cheeseburger and fries, lucky dog. And then we made our way back across the state. Chasing the sunshine, and that snow quickly turned into blue skies, but at, we made our way closer and closer to home. The rain set in, and coming upon those rain clouds was absolutely beautiful. I really loved the scenery this time coming through. So unlike last year when I went and it was just gray skies and you really couldn't see anything, this time it was absolutely beautiful. But let's talk about what I have got going on here at the cabin. Last week I did a deep clean on the cabin, and I came to a major realization, and that is that I don't have enough storage space in this cabin. So if you've been following me for any length of time, you might know that I have a lot of possessions, that I'm a maximalist, not a minimalist. I do love my things, but I don't have a place to store everything, such as my clothes. So you can see I have a dresser here, but it's rather small. It doesn't hold a whole lot. And so in the cabin, I've put in some of these temporary camping storage units, if you will. And yeah, I need to build in some or buy some closet systems. Last year I built a closet rack out of gas pipe, and it works fine for all my dresses and what have you, but I really need more clothes storage than this simple dresser, and those things are not a permanent house. In addition to what's going on in the bedroom, I have my sewing room, so the other loft here in the cabin. So let's head in there and check that out. This is going to be my eventual sewing room, and also the room where I take care of other tasks like cleaning my guns and maintaining my camera equipment and what have you. But as you can see, it's just a big empty shell. So there's a lot of potential in this room. But one of the things that is a major issue in this room is the railing that you just saw me shake, because those railings are very loose. They're very ineffective. Like, they wouldn't keep anybody from falling over into the living room down below, and they wouldn't keep a pet from going through there, should you have one that decided to charge after something. So my thoughts are to do a couple of things in here. This wall that you see here, I would like to build in a bank of counter space, and then potentially have some above counter storage and definitely below counter storage. Then on the railing that is behind you right now, where I'm facing, I would like to build in some dressers, and I would like for them to be high, so that I have as much storage capacity as possible and potentially some more closet space built into that as well. Then this room, like I said, will be functional. My sewing table will be over there under the window, just as you see. And along the other two walls of this room, I would like to build in bookcases, so that I can house some additional books, and so that I can store some of the fabric that I have for all my upcoming sewing projects that I have in mind. But there's more areas of this cabin that need some built-in storage. So let's head downstairs and I'll show you what I got going on down there. So the dresser or storage space that I plan on building up here will go along this railing and to this railing. And again, I'd like to build them rather high, 5 to 6 feet, preferably. And the other thing is that they'll act as the new railing. So this railing will actually come out when I build that. And I will be building an additional support beneath this rafter here, because it doesn't have any support going from the wall to wall here, and any storage I build in is going to be rather heavy. So let me show you what I got going on below the stairs. This does not look very appealing, if you ask me. I have been using just some drop cloths as a divider between the kitchen and dining area to the living quarters, if you will, the living room. And eventually I'll be getting a wood cook stove in here to replace the older, inefficient wood stove that I have. And when I do that, that wall, or that bank of curtains, if you will be going away, and I'll actually be building in a wall there. I would like a wall that has some capability of having heat retention, a stone wall or something that can hold some of the heat coming off the wood stove and help to distribute that heat back to this side of the room. I'm going to need to have something there regardless, because if I get a cook stove, it's going to be much larger than the current stove, and I'm going to need to shield the staircase from any potential heat that could come off and damage it. So the stairs, I think also when I have them rebuilt, they're going to come down about 3/4 of the way, and then there will be a landing right about here, and then they'll come out this direction, which will widen that area right there. Because right now that is very narrow. And right here, you can see that I have a makeshift bench sitting there. That's actually just a couple of coolers, believe it or not, with a piece of fabric thrown over them. But I will be building an actual piece of furniture to be sitting there. But I would like to widen this area, because as you come in from here, it is not very wide at all. And so I'd like to widen it and make this room a bit more functional. So speaking of the staircase, this staircase is going to get swapped out. I've mentioned this in a previous video about how scary these stairs are. They're cattywampus, they're an uneven depth on the riser, the treads are all uneven depths, some of them are twisted, and what's going to happen below here, as you can see, I have this. I'm probably going to step off camera for a second, but the way the hatch to the cellar opens is through a pull cord, and it comes up like this, and then it gets hung up on the bottom of the stairs like this. This is fine for now. This was a quick fix for access into the root cellar, but it's got a couple of issues. One is it's very heavy. It's kind of labor intensive to open the cellar to go down, and then the cellar stays wide open while you're down there. I'm not a big fan of that for a couple of reasons. One is it lets all that cold air up into the cabin. If I'm trying to heat the cabin, that's counterproductive. The other thing is it's not safe. So a dog, or if you have visitors, they could easily fall into that opening. And eventually, when these stairs get replaced, what I'd like to do is build into here, or purchase more likely, a set of Japanese dressers. So they're basically like a stair step style dresser that will close off this area. This is going to actually be walled in regardless, and then there will be an actual man door here that I can open and close behind me as I head down into the cellar. That'll keep the dog out of the cellar, keep anybody from falling down the steps into the cellar, and keep all that cold air into the cellar. And then this area here will just remain open. But I also need to get some furniture for this room. Currently, this room is not furnished. As you can see, it's pretty wide open. I'm going to make this my Japanese sitting room. So I have a lot of Japanese findings and artifacts, and this room will have an Asian, Japanese specifically theme to the room. So that's what's going on in here. That's the storage that'll be there. And then, like I said, up above, I'm going to build in some additional storage into those two rooms, so the bedroom and the other loft. But I also need to build in some storage elsewhere. So down in my cellar, I've mentioned previously that I'll be building some racking to hold all of my canned goods and some root storage bins. Those will be going in. And then in the Arctic entry, I will also be building in some storage in that room, as well as my bathroom is going to be going into there. So lots of construction still to happen. And even though I'm currently not working, and I am looking for a job, I'm still going to do these things. Even if, it's a while till I get a job. At least it gives me time to do these things. But let's talk about a couple other things. So there was a question about why am I dressed in such light spring-like clothing this time of the year with so much snow on the ground, and surely it's cold here. Right now the temperature outside is around 33, 34 degrees. But here in Alaska, and I don't know why this is, 34 degrees is not cold. 34 degrees is like what would typically be a 65 to 67 degree day in any other state. So you might have a little bit of a chill, just enough that you might want to throw on a light sweater or jacket. But most people in Alaska are not wearing a jacket on days like this. They're actually in a short sleeve t-shirt, maybe shorts, but definitely not heavy winter gear at 34 degrees. And, the warmer it gets, the more warm you actually feel. So at about 50 degrees here, it's really warm, and you're just, fanning yourself because it's so warm. So as you can see by all the light flooding into this room, I have taken the window coverings out of the windows, which is nice because it allows some light to come in. Over the past 7 months, it's been really dark here in Alaska because, of course, it's winter and our days are very short and very dark. This part of the state, the daylight ranges about 5 hours, but most days are really overcast, and so you don't really get to see the sun. When the sun does come up, it barely comes up over the horizon. And so because of that, I'm rather pale right now. And that was a question that had come up as well. That I'm looking rather pale. I need to take some vitamin D, what have you. But I guarantee you, I'm taking my vitamin D on a daily basis. I'm just rather pale to begin with. I had mentioned also in a previous video that I am actually allergic to the sun. So in the last video, there was a mark showing on my face, and that is actually an ulceration from the sun. Driving back and forth from Anchorage and Wasilla and going to some interviews, I had not put on sunscreen. And so this side of my face in particular had actually broken out from the sunlight hitting it. So don't worry, I didn't fall. I didn't brush up against anything and cut my face. It looks worse in the video than it really looks to the naked eye. The camera, instead of adding pounds to me, it adds blemishes. No, not really. It just shows everything. It shows, what the naked eye can't see. So I promise you, I am fine though. So with that being said though, I want to thank you for joining Kenai and I today. And I appreciate you watching. I look forward to reading your comments down below. Please remember to give this video a like and a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you again on the next one. Take care. Would you look at that? There's actually a Taco Bell. In fact, I saw quite a few on this trip. And believe it or not, I even heard rumors that there's a 7-Eleven in Alaska.